You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans, we have got some big questions about what dirty deeds that EJ DiMera has done after a recent revelation about his brother, Tony DiMera. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to dig into whether EJ did a very, very bad thing to his big brother. But first, hit that subscribe button if you're not following us, and let's dig up some DiMera dirt. First, if you remember, Kat was in the office at the hospital when EJ got a hysterical call from Anna DiMera saying Tony had gone missing from the cruise. Now, a normal reaction for a brother like EJ would be to show a lot of concern about Tony and to dig into it looking for answers. EJ should have circled the wagons, got the family together to address Tony going missing. Instead, EJ said he had stuff to do, and he sent Kat to tell Chad about their brother being missing off the cruise. Now, I thought EJ seemed a bit callous at the time, but to me now it seems downright suspicious. After Theo Carver called the guy in Greece who had the business meeting with Tony, well, Theo found out that no, his uncle didn't run late at the meeting getting back to the cruise. So that raises a lot of questions. And then Theo went over to the mansion and told EJ, with Gwen listening, that Tony's meeting didn't run late and there was no explanation for why Anna's husband didn't get back on the cruise ship before it left the port in Greece. And guess what? EJ again seemed totally nonchalant about this revelation. Plus, when Anna was getting all worked up about it, EJ told, I think it was Kat or Chad, that Anna gets worked up over everything and said it's no big deal. And then she called back and said Tony mentioned he was going to meet her at the next port of call. But whether Anna actually gets her husband back while they're on the cruise remains to be seen. With the new secret lab plans that are happening right now and Tony's strange behavior before he left, I think that EJ may be hiding something about his older brother, Tony. After Theo left the DiMera mansion, Gwen turned around to her partner in crime, EJ, and asked if he had something to do with what is going on with his brother Tony's misadventures in Greece. Because as I said, EJ acted like he wasn't concerned about the news Theo delivered, like he wasn't concerned when Anna called. EJ insisted to Gwen that his brother Tony has been known to go off the grid from time to time. And then EJ jokingly told Gwen that if he was the one married to Anna, he'd go missing once in a while too. And that's why Tony does it. Basically, he finds Anna annoying. So then Gwen dropped a big old nuclear bombshell. You may remember when she first came back to Salem, she ran into Gabby in the town square and she asked Gwen if she'd seen Stefan while she was in Alemania. And Gwen said, no, looks like both our husbands went missing. So when Gwen has talked to anybody about her estranged cheater husband, Dimitri von Leuschner, we've heard Gwen say that she hasn't heard from Dimitri since he got out of prison. Meanwhile, Leo thinks Dimitri ran off with his other lover that he met behind bars because he left him a Dear John letter. But maybe Dimitri is not where Leo thinks and didn't even write that letter, but Gwen manipulated it around so that Leo would get his heart broken, which would be karma. Because it turns out Gwen has been fibbing. She reminded EJ that the two of them did a bang-up job making her husband Dimitri vanish into thin air, and she wonders if EJ did the same thing and made Tony vanish. That also has me wondering if Stefan went missing at their hands, because he is supposedly in Alemania, but Gwen told Gabby she never saw him there. So she could just be lying and messing with Gabby. And now, there's just people missing all over. There is a chance that Tony may be swapped out for his wicked brother Andre, or maybe he's going to be used as some sort of new Stefano experiment. with Dr. Rolf involved, literally anything is possible. Now, Andre's supposedly dead, but let's be real. Rolf brought EJ back, Megan back, Will Wharton back, a whole bunch of others back from the dead. And with Rolf himself back to Salem this week, maybe we're finally going to learn about EJ's plans for the super secret lab. I think Gwen knows a lot more about the plans for that lab than she's let on. EJ and Gwen have talked about equipment and the lab setup, and of course, EJ was comfortable leaving Gwen down there to check everything out, and that's why she was stuck during the blackout. She has invested very heavily in the project, and I'm sure that Gwen insisted EJ give her the full plans, the layout of the scheme, so she would know exactly what her money would be used for. And I'm wondering if the plan is for Rolf to recreate his late father, Stefano DiMera, using somebody else's body. I think it'd be cool if they used Dimitri for this because he was such a hunk. And whoever they get, they may have Rolf put Stefano's essence and his memories into him, kind of like they did with Steve Johnson several years back. So we've also gotten a ton of hints suggesting there's a new version of nefarious Stefano heading for Salem. First of all, Susan had a premonition that Stefano's presence was in the mansion. Then we've got Marlena's strange health issues, the Queen of the Night dreams. Stefano was absolutely obsessed with Marlena. We know that. Plus, Kat and Rafe talked a lot about the Phoenix lately, and all these red flags feel like foreshadowing. And we know there's a big umbrella story starting after the grand opening of the Dr. Tom Horton Free Clinic, which happens next week. So clearly, EJ's up to something with this dodgy lab, and Gwen is neck deep in it with him. EJ made new lab assistant Mark Green sign an NDA and promised to follow directions and don't ask questions. So we'll see if Kat gets some info out of her brother Mark about the goings-on in the lab despite the NDA. I would bet my bottom dollar EJ is doing something super sinister down there. At this point, he doesn't even have a lot to lose. Belle dumped him. Johnny won't talk to him. He can't see his grandson. He's pretty much just got Gwen in his life, and that's not a treat, you know? There's no telling what EJ may do since he's not accountable to anyone and has lost everything important to him. One silver lining is Mark wants to practice medicine again, but he got into that Clyde Weston mess and went to jail and lost his license. But maybe Kat can get Shane Donovan to get her brother a pardon and his medical license back if he helps take down EJ. The big question, though, is why would EJ stoop so low and do something horrible to his brother Tony? Like Dimitri, who cares, right? That got him out of the way, so Gwen has the money to do this secret science stuff with EJ. I understand the Dimitri thing, but with Tony, I mean, he's one of the good DiMeras along with Chad. But if that wasn't really Tony and it was wicked doppelganger Andre, then yeah, I think EJ would do something bad to him and not feel bad about it at all. Or maybe he decided to double cross Tony in the name of resurrecting their bad daddy Stefano. We'll find out soon.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.